Today we're watching this architectural digest tour of Michelle Dockery's townhouse in London, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it and what I don't like about it. So if you have a townhouse of your own, or you're thinking of buying one, you'll know exactly what to do and what not to do. Let's do this.
Hi AD, I'm Michelle Dockery. Welcome to my home. Come in.
Whoa! Look at these stairs. They look incredibly narrow. Like, as if I don't think a grown man would be able to walk down these stairs without brushing or kind of having to dodge these frames on the side. That seems super, super narrow. I'm really surprised, actually.
So this is the boot room. Feels like quite a luxury to have a dedicated space just for throwing your coats and shoes on the floor. It's much tidier today, thanks to AD, than it usually does. The previous owners actually put in this partition wall, as this was part of the room next door, and created this boot room.
I think it's a great idea to have a room like this, whether you call it a boot room, a mud room, your front door entryway, whatever you want to call it. Instead of entering immediately into a larger room, which might be a living room or a kitchen, having a room like this where you can put your clothes, take off your shoes, sit down on a bench like they have here, just put your stuff, right? Especially if you have a lot of people coming over from time to time, then it's a great spot to have. It's kind of a necessary thing to have. And I think it was a good choice to partition this off because it seems like they have enough room in this house that they can afford to do that. And I want to point out, there's actually quite a lot going on in this room. We've got the black and white checkerboard floors, a pretty bright blue wall, this vine wallpaper, and the red frame around the window, which isn't necessary, but does just add, a little bit more visual interest. So it would be really easy to overdo this, but they do it so tastefully in here that it totally works.
When we've come in from muddy dog walks, and actually Alfie, our 5-year-old lurcher, has his own little dedicated hooks here from Rose Uniacke. Very expensive dog hooks.
So especially if you have a dog like they do, and it's quite a large dog, then having a room like this is even more important. But I think it's so funny that if you watch a lot of these home tours, you'll notice that a lot of people will point out the very expensive items in their home because they have this kind of compulsion to show you where they've spent their money. Some people do it, not everyone does, but it is pretty interesting. And what you find in some of these tours is that people are just pointing out the most expensive items and not really giving you a taste of what the home is actually like. This tour is not one of them, but it's kind of interesting that people do that. And then another layer on top of that is something you see with pet owners, which is that they love to tell you how much money they've spent on their pets. And it'll become clear as we move through the video here that she really, really loves her dog.
And I'll take you through to the hallway. I always wanted a gallery hallway, so over the years I've collected.
Something is a little off here. This doorway behind her is really low. She's 5'8", but the doorway itself is not significantly taller than her, which means for a man who's, a little taller, you're going to feel a little claustrophobic walking through there. And the front door to this home is just on her right here, with this curved doorway on her left, which means that for anyone who enters the home, they're going to go straight through into that mudroom that we just saw, drop their stuff, take off their shoes, etc. And so pretty much everyone who enters the home has to go through this doorway. I don't know why they have it so small like this, because they have plenty of space above to make the door both taller and wider. It's kind of an interesting choice. And overall, this entryway is pretty tight. It's probably why she has this mirror behind her and the one on her left to make the space look a little bit bigger, because it's actually pretty small there.
So over the years, I've collected lots of different pieces of artwork. Some are from Etsy, some are from antique markets. You'll see lots of pictures of sight hounds around the house, just like our dog Alfie.
I told you, she's dog obsessed, and there are tons of homages to her dog in this home, almost more than I can count.
Let's go down to the kitchen.
You've got to go downstairs to get to the kitchen here, which is a really unusual setup because generally you would want the kitchen to be in the heart of the home with tons of natural light. But as you'll see in a second here, there is plenty of natural light downstairs, and it's probably for two reasons. Number one, a lot of British homes, you actually have to take a couple steps down to get to the front door. And that's because as technology developed, they needed to add infrastructure and drainage underneath the streets, and the easiest way to do that was just to raise the streets up. So it's not uncommon to take a couple steps down in order to reach your front door. But also, this lot is almost certainly on a slope, which means that downstairs in the kitchen and living room area, they get tons of natural light.
So this is our kitchen.
Again, really narrow stairway. You can see she's taken up almost the entire stairs here as a, let's say an average sized woman. If you've got a large man coming down there, I think he's really going to take up the entire space.
We worked with an incredible interior designer called Ainscough on this house. When we first bought the house, there were 2 walls separating this area. There was a very dark dining room and the kitchen was much smaller. So we added an extension to make it one big space.
Definitely the right choice in this case to remove that wall and eliminate the dark dining room to create this one large volume. Doing that will not only impress your guests because you've got a much larger looking space, but it's also going to make it feel so much better for you.
We wanted to keep as much of the kitchen as possible because it was beautiful. So this was all here when we bought the house. We just extended the island and added a dining area so that we could then have a more family room area.
I love that they kept the kitchen, and it works so well in this home. And it's something you always want to think about, whether you're buying a home that you want to remodel or you're redesigning your current place. What are the elements in here that you can keep that will bring some soul and life and add character to what you're building?
Because it's just really lovely for when you're entertaining and cooking and friends can sit here and you don't turn your back to them while you're cooking.
I love this stovetop. It's really rare to see 4 burners side by side instead of the classic 2 and 2 configuration. And I think it was a good choice to switch up the materials on the extension that they put on this island. They could have tried to match the original marble, but there would still be a separation between the 2 slabs. So just changing it up and giving a little bit of a different mood here, I think was a great choice. Now, one thing I've noticed consistently throughout this home is the really nice use of symmetry. Not in a picture perfect, obvious symmetrical sort of way, but just like what you see here. Right? The sink in the middle, 2 shelves on either side, nice framing around it. It looks really, really sleek, but it's not obvious that they've tried to make this symmetrical, right? It just looks natural, but is very pleasing to the eye.
The pistachio green doors were a feature that I completely fell in love with when we saw this house. And so I really wanted to keep them. So we added the extension and just put them on the end and then added the other windows. And it's just made the space feel so much brighter and airier.
They definitely get a ton of natural light in this part of the house, which again, this is downstairs, but it's the perfect place for the dining room. And I think it's just such a nice, airy space to spend time.
This space is really lovely. This was also here when we bought the house. It's like our pantry area. We added this breakfast nook, and this is where we make our coffee and our tea in the mornings.
Love this little nook. If you're British, then you definitely need a place in your kitchen to make tea, and I think they nailed it with this. Pay attention to how they use so much color on these cabinets. This is a theme you're going to see throughout this home, and we already saw it in the entryway with those nice blue cabinets, but you're going to see it plenty more times throughout this home, and it's one of the things that they do really, really well here. Ooh, that is an amazing skylight. They haven't shown it really directly here yet, but it is sitting directly above the dining table. And again, they've got windows over here, right? So 180 degrees of windows and a skylight above the dining table. That is incredible.
So this is the dining area, which is the newer extension. Some really great meals in here, Christmas, birthdays, Easter. We matched the Crittle windows, matched the Crittle. We just kind of wanted to make the space feel really cohesive. This sideboard was designed by our interior designer, Ainscough, and it was made, like a lot of the furniture in this house, by 2 carpenters from Syria who we've worked with a lot on this house. They're brothers, and they are so talented. And as you can see, it's the most beautiful piece. And Emma found this incredible piece of marble to go on top. So when we're having dinners, this is where the food goes, the wine goes, if you're doing more of a buffet.
Again, look at the colors in this place. It's got this kind of sky, dusty kind of blue, the green all over the doors and windows, the yellow cabinets that are just on the other side here. Tons of color, but none of it is overwhelming.
And then above it is this photograph by Slim Aarons, one of my favorite photographers. And we absolutely love this photograph. It really kind of shows family and food and entertaining. We thought it would be perfect for this room.
Great photograph, awful glass, right? She really needs to get some museum glass on there so that you don't have this incredible glare. I'm kind of shocked that they even included this shot in the video. You need to get museum glass on that so that you can see it from any angle, regardless of where the light's coming in, because in a room like this that gets so much light, this thing is going to be glaring all the time.
And then also when we're entertaining in the summer, when the weather's good, we also like to entertain outside.
Wait a sec. Look at this door as well. I already talked about the door upstairs that seemed really low, but this one seems incredibly low. Again, she's 5'8", but there's not a lot of room above her to get through this door. I'm pretty sure, you know, if you've got a tall guy in here, he's going to have to duck to move through that thing. And it's so interesting because they could have easily extended the door upward. There's another panel of glass above that's not part of the door. I don't know why they chose to make everything in here so small. It's really perplexing.
Outside.
Wait, we don't get anything from outside? I wanted to see that outdoor space. It looks beautiful. If we go back here, you can see it's actually a pretty simple setup out there, but it is a really nice courtyard area. I probably would have expected them to have a little bit more going on out there. Right now, they've just got what seems to be a string of lights going from one side of the courtyard to the other. Now, I think they could have done something a little bit more interesting if they actually do use this space pretty regularly, but the home is in London, so maybe it rains a lot and they don't want to put many textiles outside. So instead, they just went with this simple outdoor set. If that's the case, I get it.
So this is more of like the family room. We spend quite a lot of time in here. I spend quite a lot of time in here. This sofa, because it's really comfortable. It's from Restoration Hardware. And this is where I watch a lot of TV. That is a chessboard. I was inspired by the Queen's Gambit, Scott Frank's show, who I had the pleasure of working with many years ago. But I'm not very good. I need more practice. And then this I really want to show you, which is family heirloom. This is my grandmother's. And it's been handed down to me and my sisters, and I have it at the moment. And it is probably the most Downton Abbey thing that I own.
I really love the materials and textures in this room. The white stone table, the ceramic vase on top of it, this plastic and maybe brass lamp sitting on her grandmother's credenza. All of it brings a nice tactility to the home that gives the space a ton of depth.
There's lots of interior magazines here, lots of Architectural Digest. I'm a big fan. One of my favourites was Dakota Johnson's house.
I'll be making a video on Dakota Johnson's house soon, so I'll link to it in the description and up here when it's ready.
We've also got a record player down here. This was a wedding present from a friend, and it actually has a little etching that my friend actually did for us of our dog. It's all about the dog, really.
I told you, she loves the dog.
I actually saw it in the store in their meeting room.
Let's take a moment to appreciate how long this room is, but how much natural light we've got in here. It's so easy when you have a long space or a really deep space to lose natural light when you get to the heart of it because you've only got windows on either side and there's only so much that the light can bounce through. But what they've done really smartly here is they've got floors that are reflecting the light off of the white ceiling, and so the light just bounces through the home and gets really deep in. But the mistake so many people make is they try to overcompensate for this by making everything in their space white. But that's not what they've done here. You can see she's got beautifully dark kitchen cabinets, which contrast so well with the light floors and the light walls and ceiling around them. And so don't make the mistake of making your space overly white just because you're looking for more natural light. It's just going to look bland and washed out and have zero personality.
This is one of my favourite things in the house, this shelving unit. It's from the Comran shop.
Take a look at how this shelving unit is styled here. There's definitely a lot of stuff going on there, so it's not really minimal with just a ceramic vase up here and a coffee table book down there. There's a ton of books on here, which I'm sure she reads regularly, and some other things that she really appreciates and loves. But the thing I want to get across to you is that this is actually functional and not just a display unit. Because especially if you don't have that large of a home, you can't really afford to give too much space just to display units. Instead, you want something like this that both looks really good, but also serves a purpose.
I love red, as you can see. Lots of pops of red everywhere.
She definitely does love red, but I love how well she's matched it, with the sofa cushions, the flowers, and even this shelving unit, all in the same shade of deep red that looks so good.
This is the loo. Just so people know what's behind here and where to find the loo.
I love how happy she is to show off the loo, right? She's got this really nice, laid back, but still fun and excited energy. I just love it.
Just one of my favourite little rooms in the house. I love a downstairs loo. And this wallpaper is by Antoinette Poisson. And it's really cute. And that's such a tiny little sink.
This looks awesome. We've got more of the same red in these really deep, rich tones, but the contrast with the green wallpaper and just the kind of coziness of this room, I think it's incredible. I probably would have went with a larger sink because frankly, this one looks like it's going to be pretty hard to use and you'll probably splash water everywhere when you use it, but they may not have had enough space in there to put in something larger, or maybe she just likes the really miniature sized bathroom, and if that's the case, then more power to her.
So this is our den. TV room. This is where we tend to watch a lot of movies and chill out on these gorgeous sofas.
I already love this room. It's beautiful. These look like the most comfortable chairs I've ever seen, and I would absolutely love to spend time in this space.
I wanted to make it feel really cozy, so we put in these gorgeous curtains just to kind of make it really cozy at night, and these little Soho home lamps just make it kind of feel like a cinema when you're watching a film. There's a piece of art by David Austin.
Again, more of the symmetry that we saw before. Here, this is a fireplace with 2 bookshelves on either side, very similar to the kitchen sink that we saw with 2 shelves on either side. It's not over the top, but it does look really good.
Smoketown. I've had that for many years. This poster is my favourite poster from the movie The Gentleman. That little gun in the glass of whiskey is the one that I use in the film to shoot the 2 heavies.
I don't watch a lot of movies, but when I find a movie I like, I watch it multiple times. And The Gentleman, I've seen twice. Very good film, highly recommended. I think if I lived in this home, this room would definitely be one of the places I spend most of my time. And again, I have to point out the contrast between these beautiful white walls and the dark cabinets and shelves on both sides of the room. They create such a nice contrast that's so pleasing to the eye because it's not overly saturated with color. Instead, you get some deep color over here, but it's not fighting for your attention.
There's another homage to Alfie up there, another Sighthound. That one's from TK Maxx.
Okay, so I might have got it wrong earlier when I said some people love to show off the expensive items in their homes. She did do that earlier, but I think what she actually wants to get across is just how much she loves her dog, right? She said this is from TK Maxx. It probably costs 20 pounds or something, but she's so happy about it. You can tell it's one of her favorite items in here, and all of these dog memorabilia are, some of her prized possessions. So she loves her dog so much, and she just wants to talk about him all the time.
So this is the office.
Wow. This looks incredible. I love this office just by stepping in the doorway, right? Look at this space. It is stunning. Beautiful parquet floors, again with the bright white walls, and this really tasteful crown molding along the ceiling line. It just looks like such a nice place to spend time, and I would absolutely love to get some work done in here.
This is actually one of my favourite rooms in the house. It's one of the brightest rooms, and we chose a really bright white colour to kind of make it as bright as possible. It's where we work, it's where we read, it's where we listen to music. I tend to read scripts in this chair because it's a really gorgeous recliner chair. I've also got memorabilia I like to keep in this room. And one thing, in fact, the only thing I got from Downton Abbey was this little dog, which some people will recognise from the train station scene when Mary gives us to Matthew before he goes off to war.
Why am I not
mad
surprised?
about this is this was a very long time ago. The artwork is kind of like the central piece in this room. We had this piece commissioned by Anneke Mostert, a really talented young South African artist. And my brief to her was I wanted something that feels really calm.
Pay attention to how much this piece of art frames the entire space. In other pieces of the house, you've seen a lot of smaller frames stacked next to each other, which can look nice, but it doesn't create that really grounding moment. But this piece does. It draws your eye in, not just because of the colors, but because of the scale. So if you've got a space in your home that you really want to draw attention to, hanging an oversized piece of art like this one is a really good way to do that.
This fireplace, when we moved into the house, it was really dark.
I think it would have kept it dark. Not because it looks bad now, but because if you zoom out and see this entire wall, everything is really light. So they've done a really good job in the rest of this home by balancing light and dark and creating contrast in the same visual plane. But in this case, I think they might have missed the opportunity to create that same contrast by having a really dark, bold fireplace surrounded by all the white around it.
We decided to kind of lighten the whole thing. And our interior designer, Emma Ainscough, told me about this amazing tile designer called Petro Palumbo, who does these gorgeous little paintings on tiles. And then they also do custom ones. And so we, of course, had to get a custom one made of our dog, Alfie. This artwork, you'll see there's a few pieces around the house. This is another piece by David Austin, who is actually a very close friend of mine's dad, and he is an incredible artist.
Look at how well they're using color in this room. They've got these 2 red cabinets along the wall here, these purple flowers, a yellow lamp, orange cushions, the blue sofa, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. Why? Because they're using white walls and a white ceiling. So you're not being overly bombarded with color. Instead, there's a little bit of color, then some white to balance it out, then a little bit more color, and then some more white to balance it out. This is how you use color tastefully to make a home that looks really good, but also has tons of personality. The other color you see a lot of in here is green, because they've got so many plants in this room. There's at least 10 plants just in this room alone, and they bring so much life into the space that makes it really inviting and just a nice place to spend time.
So this is the main bedroom. Emma, our designer, has made this into a really calming, beautiful space. I love the colours in here. And actually, it kind of all started with this Egon Schiele print. Love the colours in it. So she kind of brought out the colours from the picture. So you can see the green on the bed and this lovely colour of these wardrobes, which were also custom made by our really talented carpenters. And it also has really beautiful ironmongery that Emma found. The bedside tables I really love. These are from Susie Atkinson. And also the lamps are from Susie Atkinson too. And this lamp is actually from Cezanne, a clothing brand that I really love. And now they're doing homeware, which is really exciting.
How about these beautiful mirrors next to the bed? I love it when people use mirrors that are not a traditional shape, just a standard rectangle. These ones look stunning.
Exciting. I love a 4-post bed. It was always a bit of a dream to have one. And we had these lovely shears made just to kind of elevate it a bit. The artwork, a selection of antiques from Battersea Arts Fair, somewhere that I love going every year. And then also the painting over there is also from Battersea Arts Fair, which is a really gorgeous, sort of calming painting for this room. I'll take you through to the ensuite. So the colours blend really beautifully in here from the bedroom into the bathroom. I love the marble in here, Verde Luana.
This is a really ambitious marble that wouldn't work in a lot of homes, but it works here because they haven't been over the top anywhere else in this home. Everything else that we've seen in here has been so tastefully curated that when they want to push the envelope a little bit with something a little bit more creative like this, they can totally get away with it and it looks really good.
Which is just felt really kind of unusual. This vanity, again, was made by our carpenters.
Same marble on the vanity, and again, look at the mirror. Just by rounding the corners of that rectangle, it makes it look so much more refined.
This print is by a photographer called Tom Allport that I've just discovered. We wanted something that had real kind of like holiday vibes.
Beautiful print. Again, she needs some museum glass. There's a ton of light coming in here and we're getting a lot of different reflections. Museum glass will completely fix that.
And through here is the dressing room. The colours are really beautiful in there. The walls are a Farrow & Ball colour called Enchira Blue, which is one of my favourites. The dressing table is from Trove. My mum always had a dressing table growing up. It's always nice to be able to kind of sit somewhere and, you know, do your hair and makeup.
Love the dressing room. This is any woman's dream. But take note of the bold colors in here. Really deep, rich blue on the cabinets, this very bold green ottoman, the red dressing table, and even some gold along this mirror on the left side. So it's definitely pushing the envelope a bit when it comes to color, but Michelle obviously loves color, so having this as her private sanctuary just totally makes sense. So what can we learn from this home? Well, what I want you to take away from it is how to effectively use color to inject life and personality into your space. And it really comes down to having a neutral foundation and using colorful accents. And we saw this all throughout this home. White walls, white ceiling, neutral floors, but tons of colorful accents that give your eye somewhere to land and something to think about. So if you're the kind of person who loves color and wants to introduce some visual interest into your home, then think about how you can balance neutrals with those colors you love to give your home a unique mood. I would just recommend starting with a neutral palette and introducing colors slowly so that you don't overdo it. So if you want to see me walk through some other homes that really nail this balance, I've left links to a couple videos in the description below. Or you can check out this video up here where I break down a beautiful apartment owned by a professional chef living in New York. I'll see you there.